Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the MLB slate on DraftKings for Tuesday, May the 28th. We got a 13-game Tuesday slate for today. I'm going to go through the pitcher-player pool and talk about all the pitchers that I'm going to be targeting today, all the pitchers that I'm going to have a part of my pool and that I expect to have across my lineups. We'll look at 3 hitters that I'll be targeting. We'll talk about some stacks. We'll look at some stacks to go to. Then we'll look at BVP plays at the end of the video. For those of you that are interested in BVP, we'll talk about that as well. Just before we do get started, guys, I would appreciate it if you would drop a like on the video. And if you are new to the channel, make sure you click that subscribe button down below so that way you won't miss out on any of my new videos. So starting off at the top of the pitcher-player pool, Steven Strasburg is our most expensive option today. He's $11,800 in a matchup with the Braves. So this is a weird slate for me in the fact that I really don't have any interest in the expensive pitchers, at least not the top 3. Strasburg's matchup against the Braves, just not a matchup that I really like. The Braves don't strike out much. They're going to put the ball in play. Strasburg is also very expensive, and he's also an underdog as well, which is just crazy to me. So I'm not going to be rostering Steven Strasburg today. Frankie Montas, kind of the same thing for him against the Angels. Montas has been great lately, but he's very expensive. He's $11,300. It's an Angels team that doesn't really strike out much either. Rich Hill, same thing for him. It's a good matchup with the Mets, or his matchup's definitely the best, I would say. But Rich Hill I don't know if he really has the upside to pay off this price tag. So Strasburg, Montas, and Hill, all 3 of those guys are going to be guys that I'm most likely going to be avoiding today. My favorite pay-up option would be Matt Boyd at $10,300. I think Matt Boyd probably has the most upside out of all those pitchers. His matchup is really good against the Orioles as well. But again, I don't think I need to pay that price tag for him on this slate. There's a lot of good expensive bats that I want to fit in, and there's some really good mid-range pitching on this slate to where I don't think you have to pay up. I think you can find good mid-range plays and good value plays and then really load up on the bats. I think that's the route that I'm going to be taking today. So let's go ahead and talk about some of those mid-range pitchers that I like that I'm going to be targeting. So Dylan Bundy is a guy that I usually stack against, but at home here against the Tigers, $8,500. I don't think Dylan Bundy is the worst play today. I do prefer Trevor Richards, though, for cheaper. Trevor Richards at $8,200 against the Giants, I really like here. Great matchup for Richards, great ballpark as well, pitching at home in Marlins Park. This is definitely a game where I'm going to be targeting both pitchers. You have Richards at $8,200. You have Jeff Samardzija at $7,700. Samardzija usually not a guy I roster, but I'll pretty much roster any pitcher against the Marlins. Both guys are relatively cheap as well. Low total in this game. Great pitcher's park. I really like Trevor Richards here. I think he has a lot of upside against this Giants lineup. Can definitely rack up strikeouts against them. They're only going to be running out, I think, 4 lefties maybe. Then you have the pitcher spot, so it's a good matchup for Richards. He is very good versus righties, gets strikeouts versus righties, so I like him quite a bit here. I think he makes a lot of sense at $8,200. Like I said, Dylan Bundy at $8,500 I like. On the other side of that game, Jeff Samardzija at $7,700 I think is a pretty good play. Even Ryan Yarbrough, if he's going to be the long man here, if he's going to start for the Rays against the Blue Jays, Ryan Yarbrough makes some sense for me at $8,300. And a cheap guy I want to talk about is Marco Gonzalez. I really like him as a value pitcher today. He's only $6,900 on DraftKings. He's pitching at home here against the Rangers. This is a Rangers team that does strike out quite a bit versus left-handed pitching. They also do struggle more on the road than at home. And in this ballpark, in Safeco Field, the Mariners ballpark, it's very pitcher-friendly. This is definitely a ballpark downgrade for the Rangers. And like I said, they strike out a lot versus lefties. They're going to roll out at least 4 lefties in their lineup: Guzman, Gallo, Mazzara, and Shin-Soo Choo. And Marco Gonzalez does get plenty of strikeouts versus lefties. The righties are a bit concerning, especially the top, like Elvis Andrus having a great season, Hunter Pence is having a great season. Those guys kind of scare me, but Logan Forsythe, Asdrubal Cabrera, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, I'm not really worried about those guys. They will strike out as well, so I think Marco Gonzalez has a lot of upside here against this Rangers team, and the fact that he's pitching at home makes me have a lot of interest in him. And he has done pretty well against the Rangers this year when he has faced them. Had to face them in Texas in his last start and still did pretty well, 7 innings, allowed 7 hits, 1 earned run, 3 Ks, 14 DraftKings points. When he pitched against the Rangers earlier this year at home, he went 7 innings, allowed 6 hits, 9 Ks, 34 DraftKings points. He did have his best game of the year against the Rangers earlier this year. So Marco Gonzalez for me makes a lot of sense as a value pitcher. I don't know if there's really any other value pitchers, though, that I want to go to besides Gonzalez. I guess my next favorite cheap option would probably be like maybe Clayton Richard against the Rays at 6,200. If he's going to be fully stretched out, he only went 4 innings in his last start against the Red Sox. Gave up 1 run, 2 hits, got 2 strikeouts, 8 DraftKings points. I imagine that since he threw 54 pitches in his last start, that he'll probably go about 70, 75 pitches, which could be good enough. But if you can find $700, I think you just definitely want to play Gonzalez over Clayton Richard. Brad Keller against the White Sox, I think, has upside. The White Sox do strike out a ton versus right-handed pitching, so he's a guy that you could definitely look to. But my favorite cheap option by far is Gonzalez at 6,900. So that's really it for me at pitcher. Like, I feel like I'm going to be playing just a few amount of pitchers today. I don't see myself playing a ton of guys. Like, obviously, like Richards and Gonzalez a lot. If you're going to pay up, I think Matt Boyd's the best pay-up option. Giolito against the Royals I didn't talk about, but I think Giolito, him and Boyd are probably my 2 favorite options. And then in this mid-range, I do like Dylan Bundy, Ryan Yarbrough, Jeff Samardzija I think makes sense for value. Really like Marco Gonzalez. Clayton Richards a fine value if he's going to be fully stretched out and able to go at least like 70, 80 pitches. Brad Keller's not the worst value play. But I think that's it for me for pitcher. Let's go ahead and talk about some bats now. So I want to talk about this Coors Field game. We have over a 6 implied run total for both teams. 6.6 right now for the Rockies, 6.1 for the Diamondbacks. Antonio Senzatella pitching for the Rockies and Merrill Kelly pitching for the D-backs. These are definitely 2 pitchers that we can stack against, 2 pitchers I'm not afraid to pick on. Starting off with the D-backs side, I really like Ketel Marte. He's very expensive today at $5,800, but since I'm not going to be paying up much for pitcher, I'm going to have the salary to fit him in. So he's going to be a top spin for me on this slate. This dude's just been absolutely raking the ball lately. He's got a home run in 3 straight games. You look at the DraftKings game log, it's very pretty. 12, 30, 26, 19 DraftKings points his last 4 games. During that San Francisco series, he was just absolutely killing it, homered in every game. Now he gets to go to Coors Field, the best hitter's park in the game. Not the best hitting weather, 51 degrees with winds blowing in, but still you have crazy high totals in this game, even with not great hitting weather. I just think both pitchers can easily be stacked against and can struggle here, so I really like Ketel Marte from the D-back side. Obviously, guys like Jared Dyson, Escobar, Adam Jones are in play. Christian Walker's pretty cheap. Those are guys you could look to, but if I'm stacking the Rockies, But if I'm stacking the Diamondbacks, Ketel Marte is going to be the first guy that I look to. Second base and outfield eligible on DraftKings, which makes him very appealing for me. And then we're going to go ahead and talk about this Rockies side. So if we look at their lineup, they actually have some pretty cheap pricing. Like Raimel Tapia and David Dahl are both still way underpriced in my opinion, especially facing a righty here in Merrill Kelly. I played a lot of David Dahl on Monday's slate, and I'm pretty sure he did hit a home run. I'm going to be going right back to him, and I'm going to be going right back to Tapia as well. Tapia is $4,300 and Dahl is $4,200. 2 of the more underpriced guys on this slate, in my opinion. Both of these guys should be close to $5K here, playing at home in Coors. Tapia, a ton of power versus righties. He's shown power this year. He's got some speed as well, just a really good hitter. And him in Coors Field, something I really like, being able to hit in that outfield. He can turn a single into a double into a triple with how spacious the outfield is in Coors Field. So I really like Tapia leading off. I really like David Dahl batting third. I think he's a great option as well. Another hitter with a ton of power, a lot of power versus righties. Does have some speed as well. I think Dahl has a few steals on this season. He does have a steal this year. Not the fastest guy, but still if he gets on base, he can steal bases. Just gives you added upside. The Rockies should be able to put up plenty of runs here versus Merrill Kelly. Dahl and Tapia are 2 guys that really stand out. Like, you just look at the pricing throughout this Rockies lineup. You obviously have Story and Arenado who are going to be crazy expensive, but other than them, there's actually some really good value in this lineup with Tapia, Dahl, Murphy, Rogers, Desmond. These guys really aren't that expensive, so it should be pretty easy to fit in Rockies bats. I do like going to them here versus Merrill Kelly. So these are my 5 plays for DraftKings today, guys. Let's go ahead and talk about some stacks now before we end the video. So my favorite stack is the Rockies. They're going to be number 1 for me. The Diamondbacks are going to be a close second. Just this game in general, I'm going to be loading up on. And since I like a lot of cheap pitching today, should be pretty easy to fit in these Rockies and D-backs bats. But some other teams we could potentially consider, I think the Mariners versus Adrian Sampson make a lot of sense. They have a 5.2 implied run total. You could definitely look to some Mariners bats. And you got cheap guys in here as well. When you get to the 6 through 7, or the 6 through 9, you got everyone under 4K. Kyle Seager, $3,700. J.P. Crawford 3,300. If you can stack the Mariners and probably fit in some expensive pitching, like if you want to go to Matt Boyd or Giolito, you could probably fit them in with the Mariners stack because the Mariners are not that expensive. But now some other teams we could potentially consider. Don't want to overlook the Twins with how well they've been hitting the ball lately. Zach Davies is a pitcher that you can attack. He doesn't really get strikeouts. He's going to pitch in the zone. And these Twins guys have just been crushing the ball lately. So going back to the Twins, I think makes plenty of sense. They have a 5.1 implied run total versus Davies. I think the last team that I want to mention is the Red Sox versus Zach Plesac. I'm not even sure how to say that name, but pretty sure this is going to be a bullpen game for the Indians. Their bullpen can definitely be attacked. 5.6 implied run total for the Red Sox right now as I'm recording this video. And with all the cheap pitching, you should be able to fit in the Red Sox pretty easily, even though they're very expensive. You can fit them in with a lot of the cheap pitching options we have today. So do not want to overlook the Red Sox, but I feel like I'm going to be really loading up on this Coors Field game. Just love both sides of this game. That's my two favorite stacks are going to come from that game. But let's go ahead and talk about some BVP now before we end the video. So we got some BVP plays today. I'm going to start off with the ones that stand out to me. And if you do want to look at all the BVP plays, you can just pause the video here and look at all of them. But starting off, Gene Segura has gone 10 for 22 with the home run off of Adam Wainwright. Bryce Harper, 9 for 20 with the home run off of Wainwright. Freddie Freeman really hit Steven Strasburg well, 17 for 48 with 4 home runs. Justin Turner, 3 for 12, 2 home runs off Steven Matz. And down here at the bottom, Joey Gallo, 4 for 13 with 2 home runs off Marco Gonzalez. So those are just some BVP plays I got for today, guys. Like I said, if you want to look at all of them, feel free to pause the video here and look at all of them. But I think that is the end of the video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy this video, and hopefully it did help you. Like always, I would appreciate it if you would drop a like before you get out of here, and make sure you click that subscribe button as well. Would really appreciate it. If you have any questions, you can always hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT, or you can leave any comments down below, down in the comment section, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed. We'll see you in the next one. Good luck tonight. Peace.